Hi folks, Lee here and welcome back to the channel. So, been a while since I've done one of these. Basically, it's just getting a little bit harder to do videos during the week because it's getting darker earlier. So basically by the time I'm home from work, it's barely any time until it's, just totally dark outside. So it's making it a little bit kind of more difficult to really do any videos at all, really. But I thought I'd do a little one tonight. I'm off work. I've been off work today. I took a little bit of a kind of long weekend for myself, so I'm back in on Tuesday. But I thought I'd, just kind of like talk a little bit about a couple of things that I've watched recently that I've really enjoyed. So first thing I wanted to talk about was the new Bond film, No Time to Die. And I went to see that, I think it was last Sunday. I think it was either Saturday or Sunday, I can't even remember, to be honest. But like, quite a good film. Like, I kind of, like, my interest in Bond sort of waned a little bit, over the past few years. It's not really something I've been kind of actively interested in, and I used to be really interested in Bond. Like, I used to love 007, and basically, I think I've talked about this before on the channel, but what really introduced me to it was the video games, and that was really like the first kind of like shooter video games that I played, was like some of the 007 games on the PS2 and the Xbox. I really enjoyed those, and I also loved like the Pierce Brosnan movies, because those were basically the ones that were around like when I was kind of getting interested in it, and when I was like playing the games. So basically, and then like when Casino Royale came out, the first one, with Daniel Craig, it was absolutely mind blowing to me, because it was like there's a whole new like 007 coming out, and as I said, like I absolutely loved the franchise at the time because of the games. So that was an amazing film, Casino Royale. And then like up down the kind of Craig era, you had Quantum of Solace, you had Skyfall, you had Spectre, and I kind of felt like I actually really enjoyed Quantum of Solace, the second one, with Craig in it. It didn't get the best reviews, but I actually like really enjoyed that film. And then I thought Skyfall was really good as well. But I think already by then, like, I didn't have the same interest in Bond that I kind of used to have, when I was like playing the video games and that. It wasn't like the same thing, but I did really enjoy the movie, like kind of for what it was, if you know what I mean. And then Spectre, I don't even really remember much of what happened in Spectre, because I just didn't particularly like the movie. So I think that kind of set me up for this one. For I thought I was going to go into it and not really enjoy it that much. At the very most, I was going to enjoy it just as a kind of standalone silly action film. I've not been to the cinema much over the past 2 years, obviously, so I think I was excited for that in itself. I have been to the cinema a couple of times over the past few months, but going to see the new Bond, and it was that one film, like, it's been hyped up for so long. We've seen the trailers and that, and it did kind of get me interested in it, thinking like, is this going to be a good movie or a bad movie? And as I said, I didn't really have the highest hopes for it, but it did turn out to be, a pretty good movie. I did enjoy it. I don't want to spoil too much. I don't want to turn this into too much of like a big kind of review or whatever. But overall, like, I did enjoy it. As the friend that I went to see it with pointed out, like, he's obviously been keeping up with the kind of whole story arc of the Craig era films better than me, but you had the 4 films, like from Casino Royale through to Spectre, they all had this story, and then like this last one kind of felt like it was a little tacked on. So I've seen that point been made in a couple of places as well. But I mean, overall, like, you know, I thought it was a good film. You know, like, yeah, I thought it was really, you know, not really good, but like I wasn't disappointed by it in any way. I thought they handled everything like relatively well. So yeah, good movie. Would I recommend seeing it? Yeah, probably. If you're really like looking for something to watch at the cinema, then yeah, I'd say probably go for it. If you yeah, if you like James Bond, obviously, you know, as I said, I do think like it's a weird thing, because it's like I feel like back when I was interested in like the video game Bond, and I'm I'm getting a little bit kind of like convoluted here, but like back when I liked the video game Bond was a kind of not like a cartoon character, but like obviously like it was all about kind of like the silly gadgets and the kind of silly cartoony villains and stuff like that. And funnily enough, like at the time when they introduced Daniel Craig as Bond, and Casino Royale was a much more kind of gritty, dark, kind of down to earth Bond, and I really loved that at the time, and I loved it over the next couple of films and over the next few years of me kind of keeping up with Bond. But funnily enough, now I'm actually just kind of, I really hope they begin to go in the other direction again, and they begin to make it, they begin to take it a little less seriously again, you know. I don't know if they'll do that. I don't know what direction they'll go in. Again, I don't want to spoil it, but the ending leaves it in a very kind of a very interesting place, I would say, like where it could go in many ways. They could kind of almost do anything with it, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that'll be interesting. But if there's one thing I'm kind of hoping for with Bond films going forward, it's that, you know, they start to take it a little less seriously again, you know, and we start to see more kind of like sort of silly bad guys, silly gadgets again. Like, I don't know, like, as I said, I enjoyed the kind of dark, gritty tone of some of the Craig films, but yeah, I think I'm just ready to kind of go back again. Maybe that's just nostalgia for the video games and the Brosnan Bonds. I do think overall, like, I think overall Craig done a better job with the character than Pierce Brosnan. But at the same time, now when I'm looking back at it, and maybe this is nostalgia a little bit, but it's like I kind of see, I kind of can't help but see Brosnan as kind of more like my era of Bond. It's weird. Okay. But yeah, good film overall. You know, so yeah, go and see it. You know, see it for yourself. And obviously it also means that I don't need to spoil anything for you, because you'll have seen the film. And yeah, so second thing I wanted to talk about, and this one was basically more because basically like a couple of weeks ago, I had a bit of a kind of like period of unwellness. Like, I was unwell for a couple of days, and it kind of gave me a chance to kind of just catch up with, you know, stuff on Netflix and, you know, yeah, basically that. But like, it's weird, like, I've not really sat down and watched much as of late. The kind of most recent thing I've watched was a series called The Expanse on that was on Amazon Prime Video, I think it is. Prime Video, yeah. That's a really good series, and I really enjoyed that, but that was ages ago. Like, that was literally the last thing I watched, and it was probably a good 4 or 5 months ago. I'm really bad at kind of just sitting down and watching things, but being unwell, there wasn't much else I could do, like, but just lie in bed and just watch things. And I watched a thing that everybody's been talking about recently, Squid Game, and I just binge watched it over, you know, about 3 nights. And my overall verdict, I really enjoyed that series. I originally thought, like, going into it, I was like, this is going to be another one of those things where it's just like all gore and no story, and it's going to be another one of those overrated programs that, you know, I really should know better at this point, because I thought the same thing about things like Breaking Bad back when those came out. God, that's ages ago. But yeah, like, so yeah, I watched that and I really enjoyed it, and I was actually surprised by just how well developed all of the characters were. I didn't feel there was any characters in it that didn't have their place. That was kind of like the most impressive thing to me about it. But also the storyline. I've got a weird thing with horror movies and like horror shows, and I mean, I don't know if you could technically call Squid Game horror. I think you probably could, because the thing with me about horror films is I hate horror films, because when I think horror, I think like jump scares and all of that sort of stuff, and I absolutely hate that. Like, it just doesn't, like, it just doesn't do it for me whatsoever. But on the flip side, I also think that horror stuff always has like the best storylines, like the most interesting storylines. So it's almost a kind of, it's a little bit of a kind of battle in my mind as to whether like I'm gonna enjoy anything, you know, horror or not, you know. So, but yeah, I watched Squid Game, and as I said, I really enjoyed it. And again, I don't want to spoil anything, which is actually pretty difficult. There is a lot of twists and turns in that series, but basically the premise of it is, you know, I'm sure plenty of people have seen the trailer, but basically the premise of it is you've got people who are laden in debt and like financial woes, and they basically get taken to this, like, they don't even really know what it is, but it's like this facility where they're basically put through these different games and trials, and if they basically, if they win, they go to the next game, and if they lose, then they die, basically. It is quite a graphic series. There is a lot of gore in it, but as I said, I originally was worried that it wasn't going to have the best storyline, but it really, like, it is quite a basic storyline. Like, if I had to sum it up best, it's like, and I'm maybe spoiling it a little bit here, but if I had to sum it up best, it's like a mix of The Hunger Games, and if anyone's seen the Hostel series of films, that's what it really reminded me of. And then you could probably throw like a little bit of Saw in there as well. Even though I've never really watched any of the Saw films, but from what I can gather, like, that probably sums it up best. It's kind of a mix of all of those. But again, it's a series I would really recommend. Although I don't really know why I'm recommending it just now, because I'm sure pretty much everyone in the world has seen it by now. It is already like the most watched show on Netflix, so it's like surpassed. I don't know, like, I don't know how they do statistics, but it's like within like a 14-day period of release or something like that, it's basically just surpassed everything else, basically. So it is a very popular show, so I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen it already, but if you haven't, I would, unless you're very averse to like gore, then I would recommend it. You might not like it, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. I know a couple of people who have started watching it and have stopped and just thought, nah, this isn't really for me, and that's fair enough. But overall, I really enjoyed that show. So yeah, so I just thought I'd talk about a couple of the things that I've watched recently. You know, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, leave a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You know, have you seen either of these things yet? Did you enjoy them? What was your thoughts on them? You know, what did you enjoy about them? What did you not enjoy about them? Yeah, just fire away, just dig in. And if you'd like to see more of this content in the future, then please do subscribe. I'm actually toying with the idea of doing like a kind of movie TV show review channel. I know I've tried doing like new channels in the past and it didn't really work, but I'm going to try and think about it a little bit more this time and just plan it out a little bit better. So if that's something you guys would be interested in, then please just let me know. And I'm also thinking in the future about, and I don't know if I'm going to do this or not, but going back to the Bond thing, I'm thinking about watching all of the films again, and there is a lot of them, and there is a lot of them that I haven't watched in a while and don't really remember anything of. I'm thinking about watching them all and then doing some sort of like tier list video, which would be a long ass video, but you know, I do think it'd be quite interesting. The film has kind of revived a bit of an interest in Bond for me again, which, you know, is quite cool, I suppose. So yeah, as I says, if you'd like to see more content like this, then please do subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So yeah, so that's all really. So bye folks.